Good evening, everyone. And on behalf of the Retail Design Institute New York chapter, thank you for joining us in our first chapter event for 2021, New Year, New Outlook, the evolution of health and wellness. I'm Andrew Lee, Senior Project Manager, Architecture and Planning at Equinox, and the chapter president. And this is Diana Revkin.
Hello, everybody.
Studio Director of TPG Architecture and Chapter Vice President. And we will both be moderating a discussion following the presentation from our guests tonight. The chapter is very pleased to offer our members of the public continued online content during this period to highlight excellence in retail design. And we want to thank all our members of the New York chapter board who helped put together these events together. So thank you, everybody there. We would also like to thank our sponsors who really assist in creating this programming and getting it to your screens. So firstly, we'd like to thank our event sponsors for tonight, the Lawrence Group and J-Tech Contracting. Our gold chapter sponsor, Karen Purse Global Direct. Our silver chapter sponsors, JPMA, Planet Construction, Shimenti Construction, and Style Mark. And tonight, we are joined by three very exciting guests. Andy Grover, co-founder and chief development officer at Tend. Michelle Larivee, co-founder and chief executive officer for Within. And Kane Sarhan, co-founder and chief creative officer from The Well. We will have short presentations by each of our guests, and following we'll have Q&A. So please feel free to submit any questions you might have using the Q&A function at the bottom of your screens, and please do so at any time during this event. So please enjoy the presentations, and I'd like to welcome our first guest, Andy Grover, co-founder and chief development officer at Tend.
Thanks, Andrew. Nice to see everybody virtually, or at least to know that you're all out there. It's a pleasure to talk with you this evening a little bit about our baby Tend. Going to run you through a little bit of what we're doing here at Tend and how we are thinking about healthcare services in a sort of innovative way, and how we are hoping to make you look forward to the dentist. As I mentioned, our mission is really simple. So we got together about 2.5, 3 years ago with a pretty bold vision, a pretty bold mission to say, what if we could make people look forward to the dentist? It's like going to the dentist is literally a euphemism for something that's terrible. So the bar was very low, but we were intrigued by it, and we wanted to think of how we could expand that. And so, as you can see, the mission and our vision to tend to every aspect of your oral wellness. Tend actually started about 3 years ago in 2017. Myself and my two co-founders, Doug Hudson, who had been previously the CEO of Smile Direct Club, and Michael Stenslick, who worked in digital product in the mental health space. Michael had been working on this thesis for about a year before he found Doug and I. Previous to this, I worked at a company called One Medical, which is a national primary care group, and helped them scale from about 25 to about 90 on-site and off-site locations. So I've spent most of the last decade in kind of the four walls of healthcare service delivery, and thinking about how we can innovate that. What was interesting about this space for us, a couple of things. One, the dental business is a great business. It's a great four-wall. We're all sort of designers and builders of four-wall businesses. It's a great four-wall business. We were excited about that. Americans spend about $142 billion a year on dental care, which is 3 or 4 times the fitness industry, to give you a sense of scale. So it was really interesting. I like big problems. I like big challenges, and dental certainly is one of them. So we kicked off in September of 2018 with Partners in Spade, now called Mythology, a prominent branding group here in New York, and Lawrence Group. Thanks, Lawrence Group, for your sponsorship tonight, to really start to incubate and think about what could Tend be? How do we take this idea of looking forward to the dentist, and how do we turn it into a physical space? One of the big differences of kind of how we're doing what we're doing, perhaps to some other locations, and there's a lot of reasons for this, but one of the things that we're doing is we want to go really fast. So speed has been an interesting part of our journey, as you can see. We're essentially taking what a lot of businesses do in 10 years and compressing it into about 2.5 years. So we launched our first location in October of 2018. We then opened in Wall Street in December and Williamsburg in February. Williamsburg actually represents sort of the third iteration completely of new design at Tend. So we move really quickly, we innovate really quickly, and have great partners to help us do that. February 2020, we all know what happened in March of 2020. It certainly affected us. We shut down for 2.5 months, but we gratefully were part of the healthcare sort of directive from Cuomo that we could open. So we opened back up in middle of June, and gratefully, the business has been great. Candidly, it's been a sort of a home run. We've opened 3 locations during the pandemic. They're all operating to pro forma, and we're actually at about 150% of pre-COVID revenue. So we think we're onto something. we think we're providing a very basic need for people in a really new and interesting way. One of the ways we've been able to move as quickly as we have to this point is, again, the teams that we've had sort of outside of our 4 walls, but the team now that we have inside of our 4 walls has been really important. We've been able to hire an internal design team faster than a lot of other brands have, or faster than a lot of brands would have, only 18 months old. So I have an internal design team that are rock stars and leading a lot of this design thinking here at Tend. That happened just at the end of last year, and we opened the Upper West Side in December. So where do we go from here from units? We'll have 10 open here in New York City at the end of this year. We'll be the largest dental practice in New York City. We're launching DC and Boston next year, and several markets after that. So this V1 standards is interesting, I think, for the folks tuning in here. So we quickly wanted to get to a kit of parts, right? What we're doing, and as quickly as we're doing it, we're having to do it very quickly. So this is the standards slide is actually the 4th version of the design that we've done for Tend, but it's the first time we're standardizing into a kit of parts. As you can see, this is where we'll be at the end of next year, 20 locations by the end of 2021. I'm already working on the pipeline for 2022. We're likely to be in another 3 markets with a goal of 50 locations open in 2022. A little bit about our studios and how we think about this. When I think about designing for healthcare, we did this really well at One Medical, and we're doing this well here at Tend. I think about taking the temperature down. And so when you think about who's coming through the front door of a healthcare practice, be it dental, be it traditional healthcare, you don't really know who's coming. You don't know what their sort of emotional state is. Is she coming for shots because she's got her first business trip overseas? Does he have a lump and he hasn't been to the doctor in 3 years and he's losing his mind? How do we design a space to take the temperature down so that we can have a quick and thoughtful conversation between our patient and our providers? So that's where we started with Tend. We then layered on and sort of, how do you do that? We really thought about the 5 senses. How do we address them all? Ultimately, for our first studio, which you can see here, I think we hired every consultant in New York City to help us think about this. We hired lighting designers, acoustic designers, scent designers, fashion designers. We really wanted to think about this as a 360 experience. Ultimately, it's an amazing studio. It does very well. It was also probably twice the cost of a studio that we could build to really scale. That then led us to quickly doing a project that we called $1 Million Baby with the help of BHDM here in New York in conjunction and with Lawrence Group as well, of course. We really thought, how do we pull a lot of the cost of these studios but maintain and maybe even improve the brand and the patient experience? We did that by lightening up the experience and by focusing our firepower really on places that we're going to get credit from the patient, which is sort of where they interact with us. So our front desk. We also really blew out concepts like the brushery. So the brushery, for those of you who haven't been to attend, really came out of that moment of going to the dentist where you've just had an onion bagel, you're going to the dentist, your breath stinks, you're going to be this far from somebody and you don't know what to do. They give you sort of a janky toothbrush and send you to the employee bathroom. A terrible patient, a terrible experience. What if we flip that on its head and this becomes actually a really awesome experience and a place to play and a place to experience the brand? So we built these little rooms that are all about experiencing product, all about experiencing the 10 brand. And so we focused our energies there and let things like hard lid ceilings go away because we don't get credit for it and it doesn't really help the patient experience. Additionally, let's see, this is where, there we go. The other thing we really focused on was the ability to personalize the experience. So this is where we really pair closely with our digital team. We have, pre-ordered Netflix in the ceiling. When you sit down, you're able to pick what kind of appointment you want. Do you like a hard hygienist? Do you like somebody who's very gentle on your gums? In our booking flow, there's a million ways to personalize your experience. So we thought that that was another really important piece that we wanted to use the physical space to actually improve. So where we are from here, we've developed a pretty solid kit of parts. We're obviously constantly innovating, but I think we have a vernacular and a design sort of language that speaks really well across lots of different kinds of spaces. And it's going to have to, because we're going to be building out another 35 of these over the next year and a half. So that's a little bit about Tend. That's, I think, up on 10 minutes. I'm obviously, I'll be here to take questions afterwards, but that is sort of where we are and how we've gotten to here. Lots of really careful thinking. That's my timer. Lots of careful thinking about how to improve a not so sexy patient experience or not so sexy healthcare experience, and how do we bring it into sort of the 21st century. The other thing I want to talk about is CPG. We're launching a line of products. We launched at the end of the year. The Soothsonic is a dentist designed electric toothbrush made in Switzerland, and this is sort of our next big thing. How do we then now V5, V6 integrate CPG into consumer packaged goods into our studios? That's it from me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Andy. That was great. Very great presentation with a lot of information, and thank you for going through that whole process for everyone. So I think it was great to see how you have built the brand and how you're expanding the brand as well.
Great, thanks.
Next up is Michelle Larivee, co-founder and chief executive officer for Within. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, thanks for having me. It's so nice to see everyone. My presentation is focused a bit on our brand and how we have really thought about bringing something that is ancient and reimagining it for the modern wellness consumer. I'm just going to stop there quickly. Andrew, are you presenting or did you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, if you could share your screen, that'd be great.
Okay, sorry about that. Let me just pull up the presentation really quickly. I'm so sorry about that. If you want to just flip to Kane quickly and I can pull up the presentation, that might make more sense.
Oh, Jessica can share the screen for us. Yeah.
Okay, great. Awesome. Great. So excited to share Within with all of you. Within is ancient medicine, modern wellness. If we go to the next slide, what is really important to share is that we are truly mission-based. Our purpose in existing is to help others heal their bodies and relax their minds in order to lead happier, healthier, and more fulfilled lives every day. And we, really truly believe that we can have a transformational impact on the health, both mental and physical, of our clients. And this is, what really inspires us every day. Within is really the first modern brand for holistic healing rooted in traditional Chinese medicine. And our vision is really about accessibility and how do we bring acupuncture, herbal medicine, cupping, and other healing elements from Chinese medicine to the modern wellness consumer. So going into a little bit of, what was our thought process and how did we think about creating a brand that would really resonate with, something that has been around for so many years? How did we, really stay true to the ancient components of Chinese medicine and also present it in a new light for the modern consumer? If you can go to the next slide, please. So, starting with what were we going to call the business? That was a really important question for us. How did we find a name that was aspirational and modern? And I think as we were thinking about, what Chinese medicine does and how it works, we realized, it's really about harnessing the body's natural defenses and tapping into our internal powers that already exist. And so that was where the inspiration for the name Within came from. Go to the next slide. And so then, what were all of the other elements of the brand that could really come together? And I would say, I think coming back to this vision and mission and purpose, that's really about how do we have a major impact on people's lives. My personal journey to founding Within and inspiration was, helping with pregnancy and helping me get pregnant with my 2 children, healing after a ski accident, dealing with stress and anxiety. And so, I had been profoundly transformed by my own experiences with Chinese medicine. And I think, that was something that really stuck with me. And so as we thought about the brand and the colors and what are all the elements that we wanted to invoke, we wanted something that was vibrant and bold and empowering. And so that was why, we wanted to be colorful. I think, there's definitely, a decision in a concept, particularly around wellness and healing, to lean towards, do you want to lean towards softer, more neutral tones, which definitely have a soothing and healing energy. And so for us, it was important to find that balance where there, we do layer in some of those softer tones in the actual space itself, but we also wanted to really take a stand and just celebrate the impact that we can have on people's health. And then, another element that is coming through in this slide here is this concept of the paint that we've incorporated throughout our branding as well as throughout the retail space. And that really, symbolizes this idea that health is something that's constantly evolving and is very fluid. And so for us, we just really resonated when we saw the paint, and because, it just really felt like it brought that concept of fluidity and of energy and of transformation all together. We can go to, actually, if we can go to the previous slide, I think we skipped one. So just, one other element of the branding and kind of how we were thinking through, what we wanted to do and the problem that we were solving, 3 elements that were really important to us were trusted, approachable, and welcoming. And so, for us, given that we are bringing a concept and a theory and a modality of healing to a bigger audience and an audience that's new for a lot of people, super important for us around education and really being able to share the benefits, the history, as well as some of the recent science that's validating traditional uses of the medicine. And so, I think for us, through all of this, we've found that it's been really helpful to use iconography and illustration in different formats. And this manifests, across our products, across the studio, and in different ways. But, we've tried to do everything in a way that feels, relatable, approachable, and welcoming. Great. And so just a little bit in terms of where we're at with the business and what, how our journey has been. So we started with our first retail location in Flatiron in 2019. And, we will be opening additional locations in New York this year. We also have our organic herbal supplements that are rooted in Chinese medicine. So this is a view of how the brand came to life for us in the retail space. So you can see a lot of the elements that I talked about from a design perspective. One thing that I think, we also like to call out is that we thought of different ways to incorporate either directly or indirectly this concept of the paint swirl, and really thinking about fluidity and how can we bring that throughout all the different parts of the space. Something that Andy mentioned as well, but for us, certainly we thought about all five senses, and we wanted to really engage the customer throughout the journey. Not only to create a beautiful experience, but also for us, as we were thinking through the five senses, what was really important is what are the ways that we can lead to the deepest healing outcomes. And so, as we were thinking through what our scents were like, we definitely thought through and we leverage different types of essential oils that are both, infusing positivity and clearing negative energy, as well as calming the mind and reducing stress, because I think we fundamentally believe in the mind body connection, and that anything that we can do throughout the journey to reduce stress will have a positive impact on the healing process that's happening. We worked with a sound therapist and created custom sound meditations that are binaural beats and engage your brain waves to take you to a really deep sense of relaxation during your treatment. Heated tables, different types of tea at different times of the season. Also worked on lighting and artwork to just create that overall atmosphere that is relaxing. But then you can also see that we bring in the other elements of the paint as well, to just round out the experience from a brand perspective. Go to the next slide. This is a view of our retail space. One thing, to how we thought about the overall retail space is to really provide that education that we know our customers are craving on every step of the journey. And so we've tried to design a space that really feels like it's an immersive journey starting at the beginning, and also to provide the education around the acupuncture, the science, the history, throughout that journey, which helps people better, answer their questions that we have found, a consistent set of questions that people have, and also, understand what products are right for them, and answer those questions as well. We can go to the next slide. so this is a view of our herb wall. And, we found a question that we get a lot is what are herbs? And, when you're deep in the world of Chinese medicine, it's a very natural, understanding of the concept of plant medicine and how it should be used. But, we've tried to use this wall to better explain, what are some of the different plants that are in different formulas, and to provide a view of what they look like before they become, compressed into tablets in our herbal formulas. And you can see those are our signature within herb blends that we have there as well. Then I think there's just one more slide. Yep. And this is just, another view of some of the ways that we've tried to create this immersive journey into Chinese medicine. We have our acupressure mat there that is on the wall that you can interact with and try that out. We have samples of the different types of herbs, and then, more education on the actual acupuncture itself as well. I think that is everything. There's a code for anybody who wants to try, and thank you so much for listening.
Fantastic. Thank you, Michelle. Great presentation. Yeah, thank you for introducing us to that brand for sure. Last but not least, I'd like to welcome Kane Sarhan, co-founder and chief creative officer of The Well. Thanks, Kane.
Hi, y'all. Thank you so much, Andrew. Everyone can see my screen, yeah? Oh, nope, sharing is paused. Hold on. We good? So The Well, I'm Kane. I'm one of our co-founders and our chief creative officer. Andrew and Michelle, Andy, thanks for having us. Andrew, thanks for kicking off with Tend. Made me realize that I need to book my dentist appointment. And Michelle, I'm a huge fan of acupuncture and what you do. For The Well, we really started off with one idea, which was, what if your health had one address? And for us, this really came, for me and my co-founders, from a place of need. All three of us, throughout our lives as New York urbanites, have had a moment or many moments where we've thought, we wish we could go to one place and deal with all of our holistic health and wellness needs. And that place never really existed. It existed in the destination wellness format. You could go to amazing places like Canyon Ranch or Miyama or Shaw and spend 7 days or 10 days really focusing on your health and wellness, but you never had a place in the city. So if you did go, take 10 days and really invest in your health and wellness, you had nowhere to go when you came back. And more than that, for us, we really thought address was, yes, a physical place, but it also meant a web address or an online place, and just creating one universal resource that really helped people navigate the often overwhelming, often confusing and stressful part of health and wellness. So we created The Well. It's a complete ecosystem for wellness. And really we designed a brand and a business that is a platform for the world's best doctors, healers, and practitioners. The three of us aren't practitioners ourselves. We're the business folks, but we wanted to build a company that helps scale and empower the world's best and really democratize what they do and how they do it to help people really take agency for their health and really put health and wellness first and foremost. Andy said this, the dentist is a euphemism for things that are bad in life. But the fact is we often put off our health and wellness. We delay it for other responsibilities. We delay it so that we can help others. We delay it for social aspects. And for us, we wanted to create a place that was so special and beautiful that it made taking care of yourself feel easy again, and really was a place that drew you into it. So we built what we called the Well OS, which is a single platform for everything you need on your health and wellness journey. And it really focuses on 3 areas: hospitality, which is both our flagship clubs, as well as our retreat destinations, which we launched just a month ago. Our protocols, which are both in real life and online programs, everywhere from 3-day to 30-day programs that help you really kickstart your wellness journey. And then finally, our products, which are best-in-class products that really bring this all together. And for us, the idea is these aren't different silos or different programs. They actually all work together and they feed each other, and they're integrated and efficient and actually capitalize on each other. First off, hospitality. Our spaces bring together the best of modern medicine and Eastern wisdom. This is our flagship club in the Flatiron District on 15th Street and 5th Avenue, which we closed due to COVID, but are actually reopening on April 1st, which I'm so excited for. Our flagship club is 15,000 square feet and really is the mecca of health and wellness in New York City. We have everything, including this beautiful meditation dome, a full service restaurant, a full service spa and medical office with functional medicine, acupuncture, physical therapy, energy medicine. We have a full service private training gym where we do one-on-one workouts as well as classes. We have a yoga studio and a reflexology studio. This is my favorite room, where you can sit down and have a glass of wine and get your feet rubbed, as well as a steam, a sauna. We're reopening with infrared and cryotherapy, which we're super excited about, and amazing places to just hang out and be social, including our relaxation lounge and our library. For us in designing this space, my initial approach was to create a space that was first and foremost designed around wellness, and that every fabric that we selected, every light fixture that we use, every scent in the air, every material that's on the walls, every type of paint that we use had at the core a focus on someone's health and wellness. This room, for example, is one of our favorite rooms. You'll see the crystal lights that actually surround this room are selenite. They're actually cleansed and blessed by one of our good friends, Joanne Stone. These are all organic materials because you sit on this space often in a robe, and it's super important. You have natural teak woods with low off-gassing so that you have no crazy chemicals. We use natural clean plaster on the walls. We did EMF paint in the space to help reduce electromagnetic fields. We have cut greens. We have both cut flowers from a sensory perspective, as well as about 600 living plants that live throughout the space for air purification, as well as, it's funny, not funny, but when COVID started, everyone had to retrofit their HVACs. We actually had like the souped up HVAC and probably the cleanest air in New York indoors from day one. So throughout the space, from every aspect, from the restaurant to our locker rooms, every detail was thought of. And for us, we know that what a consumer remembers is the way that they feel in a space and the way that the space sort of invigorates them. So we focus just as much on like the big macro design elements as we do the towel that you feel in your hand, the robe that's around your body, the toothbrush that you hold, the signage that you see. Our locker rooms have a whole styling suite of over 30 organic beauty products, all for free. Our showers have an amazing Australian brand in them called Saya, as well as we do a lot of work with Beauty Counter, which is all clean beauty brands. So for us, we're really methodical and maniacal about every little tiny detail, because that's what people remember, right? And it's the way that they feel and experiencing those details from a design perspective that really bring them back and really make them fall in love with the place. One of my favorite spaces is our library and our flagship club. One of the few places where you see a ton of color. What's super special about this space is this is where we do film screenings, talks, lectures, private events. But the books that actually surround this room are donated by a friend of the well named Eddie Stern. Eddie is famously known as Madonna's yoga teacher. This is Eddie's personal collection of over 500 books that he's been collecting for about 40 years of everything related to health and wellness. And that's everything from Gray's Book of Medicine to like 250-year-old copy of the Bhagavad Gita, to songs about music and community. It's really like a really amazing collection that members can pull down on request, and really brings a sense of heart and soul and community to a space that we gather folks in. Late last year in December, we launched our first retreat location in Litchfield, County, Washington, Connecticut, at the Mayflower Inn and Spa. We partner with Bears Resorts and really the best hotel company in the world, in my opinion, and according to USA Today, as of a couple of weeks ago. The CEO and the leadership team has been a dear friend of mine. I previously come from hotels, and they approached us to say, you know, we've traveled the world and we've been looking for a partner to really bring wellness into our brand. And we think you guys are the best out there, which was super humbling. But also super exciting. So we launched our first 20,000 square foot space in Connecticut, and we'll be rolling out 4 more of them in the next 12 months with them. The next one in Cabo, Mexico, Costa Rica, as well as Napa Valley and Telluride, Colorado. And for us, when we sort of took over these spaces, half of them are brand new that we're building from the start. And the other half are really historic locations like the Mayflower Inn that have been around for 20 years that we got to bring in and sort of bring our mark to, which we are super excited about. This space is absolutely idyllic. For us, when we think about destination wellness, we really wanted to focus on areas that are drivable from major urban cities, because we want folks to be able to get there quickly, or our amazing remote destinations like Costa Rica that are really off the map, and really wanted to really focus on the whole aspect of wellness, which is not just like a great massage or a great acupuncture, but really is about what you're eating, how you're sleeping, time outside, time in nature, things that we know are super healing and super beautiful. This is just a selection of it. My favorite room here is our biophilic whirlpool room. We brought in over 900 plants into the room. It is the most epic experience to sit in a hot, warm bath that usually reeks of chlorine in hotels like this. And this has the most fresh air because the plants in there are just working like double time, filtering the space and really creating these beautiful experiences, as well as really healing experiences for our guests and visitors. For us, we really see the real big opportunity here is you can come stay with us for 3 days at the Mayflower Inn, but when you leave, that doesn't mean you stop. You can take our products home with you and put them on your shelf. You can actually meet with our practitioners digitally. We offer almost all of our services via telemedicine, which we built during COVID, and really allow people to integrate the well into all aspects of their life. Which brings me to our next part of our OS, which is our products. You know, we harness the power of our practitioners to create the most trusted products in functional health. We have supplements, everything from daily vitamins to hair, skin, and nail vitamins. We recently launched our Cleanse product, which has sold out twice already and is an epic program for really kickstarting your health, not just around weight management or anything or specifically, but also around better sleep. We've had trial participants who are diabetics who reduce their insulin dependency by 150%. We have people whose skin clear up, like really powerful natural supplements, vitamins, and herbs that are focused around your holistic health. Our self-care line, which is a collection of essential oil-based products, which we have harnessed from around the world, gone to Oman and cut down the frankincense ourselves, really, you know, sourced ylang-ylang from the most beautiful places around the world. A beautiful product of essential oil-based products that come in a mist and oil, as well as a concentrated essential oil, really designed to offer amazing aromatic experiences, but also olfactory experiences that can actually be really healing while preserving the integrity of the product. And then during COVID, we sort of responded really quickly and created what we think is the best hand sanitizer on the market. It's absolutely amazing. It has our pure essential oils mixed with awesome alcohol and water that is actually not drying. We put something called glycerin in it, so it hydrates your hands. It smells really, really good, not like a bottle of tequila. And also created a mask. For us, our members, one of the things we heard from them is they were having a hard time working out outside, or when they were going back to the gym, having a hard time going back with the mask on. So we developed a mask that really is safe and super effective, but also allows you to work out in it and gives you an ability to move in it, which is super important. all that leads to is, I think for us, we built this company and we build the world every day to help people, take greater agency for their health, and our customers love us. Not only do we have amazing, famous folks who are fans of ours and have amazing press quotes, but more importantly than anything, through our products and our spaces and our protocols, really have been able to, in a short amount of time, we opened about a year and a half ago, in September of 2019, have really been able to build a brand that has a meaningful impact on folks' day-to-day lives. And as we look to 2021 in the future, are releasing amazing new products this year, are reopening our New York club, opening a couple retreat locations. We just broke ground on an urban club in Miami, which we're super excited about, and really are looking to build both a digital brand as well as a brick and mortar brand that allows you to invest in your health and wellness every day. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so very much, Kane. Great to see your journey as a company. So thank you for sharing that. And I do want to invite all our panelists here and also thank all our panelists for their presentations, and to Tend Within and The Well for offering all our attendees tonight promo codes for each respective company. So Tend's offering a discount off the Soothsonic, their toothbrush that you showed, Andy, and Within's offering a 15% discount on Within products, and The Well's also offering a 15% discount off Well products. So all our attendees will receive an email with those specific promo codes and direct links to their websites. So feel free to support these great brands. I guess just to kick it off, wellness is a growing space, and it seems like every year there's more companies that are coming into the marketplace, more points of view as well, and consumers are shifting how they interact with brands. They're often very keen to try things out. But how do you actually bring those consumers back the second time to become repeat customers, and really make your experiences a need to have versus a nice to have? Anyone?
I can go. I think for us, I think it's a couple of things. So I think one thing that you realize is like wellness begets wellness. So if you crack the door for someone, if you bring them in and if you show them the value and help them experience how good they can feel through our services, through our products, they become hooked immediately, right? And a lot of times we say our job is to like crack the door and really like open up the doorway to folks. And I think what is super important as it relates to holistic health and wellness is like, and what's super important to healthcare is like our current method of healthcare hasn't been working, right? It's a broken system. I think, it's not, there are parts of it that work. I mean, we turned out a vaccine in under a year and are saving millions of lives, but a lot of people don't have access to healthcare. We have this often unfortunate reliance on prescription medication. There are epidemics well outside of COVID that rip across our nation every single day. But consumers are looking for alternatives, right? Like they want alternatives. I think they're realizing more than ever that, especially being at home, that investing in their health and wellness, and after COVID, seeing how metabolic rates and diabetes and things like this become life or death very quickly when you look at a pandemic. They want to make choices that help them live longer, healthier lives. And our approach is what we think is the future, right? We think this integrative, proactive model that's less about like treating you when you're sick and more about keeping you healthy so you don't get sick is where people are really going. and we see that every day and what we do for our members and for even our online customers.
It really is an alternative medicine, a different kind of alternative medicine. And that customer need is so strong right now. Andy, I'd be very curious to hear in your spaces, what's been the most surprising thing when you started to build out and experience the physical space that you had been strategizing on and developing? What was the most unexpected finding once you actually did create these physical environments for a different model for dental services, and lessons learned maybe?
Yeah, great question. Most surprising. I think it was really surprising and gratifying to us how quickly there was a market fit. So we don't have the same issue in that, you know, people already going to the dentist, right? We all know we should go to the dentist twice a year and you should brush with an ADA approved tooth. We sort of all have the from birth how often you're supposed to go to the dentist. So I don't have to work real hard to convince people to go to the dentist. What we want to do though, but that doesn't mean that everybody does it, right? Everybody knows they're supposed to. How do we craft an experience to do a thing that you know you're supposed to do? How do we make you want to do that? That's probably the trick for us. It's not like it goes from a chore to a delight. And I would say the most surprising thing was how hungry kind of people were for this, honestly. Like, we knew that it would be fun and we knew that it would be there. We can build pretty boxes and we can do all of that. But how people have responded to approaching oral health care non-judgmentally, right? We all feel bad because none of us, guess what? Only 30% of Americans floss like they're supposed to, but we're all told we're supposed to floss all the time. So this dental experience has basically been built for the last however many decades to kind of make you feel bad about yourself. I'm not coming enough. I'm not flossing enough. I'm using electric toothbrush. Is that really important? Like, it's sort of and the whole time you're sitting prone with a big light in your face, and it's a really terrible. So we have found the stickiness of the service to probably be the most surprising. Having people come in for a cleaning and then come back for that second cleaning, it sort of blew away our expectations, which has been great. And how important that physical experience is to that, right? Like, it's just such a differentiator for folks. You know, nobody takes pictures up for Instagram at their dentist, and it's been really fun to watch that.
Cool.
Fantastic. And I guess I in terms of like prioritizing aspects of one's life, you know, coming from Equinox, I'd be interested, Michelle, to hear your thoughts on this in relation to within. How do you position, you know, within in terms of wellness spend? Does it is it part of that recovery portion of the gym, or is it, you know, as a preventative measure for those who work out? Do you find those people as, you know, that same customer, or is it completely different, you know, groups?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I mean, I think, you know, fundamentally, one of the things that we have tried to do is make acupuncture accessible in every sense of the word. And, you know, everything from a convenient ground floor location to being open 7 days a week. But, you know, one of the biggest barriers that we found, and, you know, also something that was true to my own personal experience, is that it was starting to get too expensive to do it as often as I would like. And so for us, we've actually been able to cut the price down in half from the average. So the average price for acupuncture in New York is around $150, and ours are $75. And so, you know, what we're trying to do is make it possible for people to make a lifestyle, because, you know, acupuncture, echoing kind of what Kane said, is for us, it's really about preventative healthcare, and how do you, especially coming out of COVID, there's just, you know, a huge urgency around taking care of yourself and, you know, recognizing how your health affects that of those around you. And so, you know, I think for us, fundamentally, you know, we're really proud of the fact that we are, truly accessible from a price point standpoint. And then as it relates to, overall wellness spend and kind of how people are using acupuncture. I think one of the interesting things, particularly about being in New York, is that you're also up against really a time budget, as well as a financial budget. And so, trying to create the convenience, and make sure that our services fit smoothly into the routine. So kind of where we're located, by concepts like gyms, where we know our customer actively and then follow that up with an acupuncture session. So similarly, we found the Flatiron to be truly New York's wellness hub, and have really seen synergies of partnering with other fitness concepts, other wellness concepts, in the nutrition space as well, in the neighborhood.
Michelle, one of our audience has asked also about do you address the cultural history of acupuncture and Chinese medicine in some way? How is that communicated, or how is that woven into the story?
Yeah, I'm really happy that that is brought up, because that's something that I think about every day, and that we focus a lot on, and we're just constantly trying to improve and make sure that we are truly celebrating the history and the tradition of the medicine, and then really I think what we're trying to do is provide additional information and context, in addition to the history. So, we found that it really resonates with our customers learning about the history and the tradition, but also learning about the science and some of the benefits. And so what we try to do is share all of that, and make all of that information available, because it is really important to make sure that we're not perceived as whitewashing anything, and that know that that's something that we're thinking about all the time. And we have a number of practitioners who are come from a traditional Chinese background, and we work really closely with them. It's about our clients, it's about the community, and it's also about our team, and we want everybody to feel good about what we're doing as we try to also shine a light on this powerful medicine that's been around for thousands of years and has the potential to have such a transformational impact.
Yeah, thank you for expanding upon that. It's often something to definitely think about for a lot of brands. So thanks. Andy, you took us through that journey from a design perspective of designing that first location, and then really unpacking that and evolving that into your standard kit of parts. Do you can see that standard kit of parts continuing to evolve and incorporating changing values of the company, and also your clients? And I guess that can also extend to both Kane and Michelle as you continue your expansion as well.
Yeah, I think absolutely, right? I think we're always evolving. There's a balance between evolving all the time and always evolving. So you can, at some point, pencils have to be down, and at some point you have to put up walls. And so we're striving really hard to balance that. We feel, like I said, we've developed a language that feels like Tend, that a location in DC or a location in Miami will feel like Tend. But I don't think we're done. I don't think the language is complete. I think, we talk every day with our partners in brand, our partners in marketing. How do we message differently? How do we bring in kind of the way that so product is a great example, Andrew. We're bringing in physical product into our studios. We thought about this in the beginning, sort of in the back of our minds, like this would probably be something we might do someday, and now to bring it in, do we want this to be mostly, do we want it to be mostly digital? Do we want it to be mostly physical? Are we holding inventory? Are they filling it online? How are we thinking about it? Is it display cases? Do we want to play? Like those are how for us, probably the next iteration to sort of think about it like a box of crayons. When you have the big box, maybe too many. We're probably at like the 16 box right now. I imagine we'll probably go to the 24 in the next couple of years.
And Kane, you mentioned that you're doing a location in Miami and also doing retreats. So you kind of have different models as well for different locations and different client bases potentially.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for us, and I think one of the blessings of COVID for us is as a business has been the opportunity to sort of, like Andy said, put down the pencil and think about like what our physical footprint looks like, and sort of be responsive and open to things that maybe we didn't think were on the roadmap. Like we always thought we'd launch a product business and an e-commerce platform, but it was year 3, but it became month 9. You know what I mean? So it went from year 3 to month 9. We always thought we'd do retreat destinations, but we didn't think that we didn't think someone would come to us after being open for 5 months and offer us a 5-property deal. So it was like, oh, that's happening. Okay, we're reverting there, right? And in that, I think even in COVID and thinking about how we operate our club in New York, we opened as a membership product specifically because we wanted to create community, right? And accountability, not because we wanted to have some air of exclusivity. But I think in the age of what New York is now, and the age of and sort of the awakening that we all went through this summer around access and inclusivity, we're actually changing that model when we reopen in April, right? You can still have a membership, but we're really opening it up to allow anyone who wants to experience the wild to come in. Financially, a membership model actually worked great for us. Like it was very successful. We had a multi-thousand person wait list. But for us, it was like, well, what if we made what if anyone could come in? Like, why can't that be an option? Because if someone doesn't want to be a member, but wants to see our sports therapist, or wants to meet with a health coach, or wants to, take a meditation class, like why would we ever stop someone from putting wellness into their life? So I think, we've gotten very comfortable with the idea of being flexible, and each space is different. It's designed differently. The menu is different. We want to be in and of the space and of the community that we're part of. So I think that's something that, as an entrepreneur and as a creative has been both terrifying and exciting in the age of COVID, to like really be responsive to both challenges and opportunities alike.
Oh, great, thank you so much. It's interesting to take it from that one location and then see it grow and how it evolved and how it needs to adapt across different markets. So, and I guess, with incorporating technologies, do you, what kind of new technologies are you guys exploring or investigating that, maybe some of your customers might feel, that they may continue to be with you as a brand, whether it's, at your locations or elsewhere? I guess during this COVID time, how do you remain that, keep that connection with your consumers?
I can take this one first. I think something that's really important that we've learned from our customers over time, and also inherently know, given that we're in healthcare, health is very personal, and so the more personalized we can be, the stronger I think we'll be, and I think the stickier the relationship will be with the customer. And I think as it relates to us in particular, and just this idea of preventative care? How do you really show someone that it's working when, like, you might already feel good? So I think, what we're really thinking a lot about is how do we use patient data? How do we use that, to really help our customers understand their own health better? And, how do we use that to better, uncover additional opportunities with our clients as well?
think we have, so sort of I would say the big storyline for a lot of 2020 in healthcare writ large has been telemedicine. It's been in the ether for a long time, and 2020 really forced it to the fore, where that's going to be first point of access, particularly in places like primary care. For Michelle, I mean, it's hard to do. You got to have needles, and similarly with dental, right? You can't give a crown over the phone. But one place that we did find that sort of meeting our patients where they were emergency teledental visits. And if somebody wanted to have a first or second conversation about, say, orthodontia, right? If they wanted to talk about our Breezy Braces product, we can have a big conversation over the phone and get your questions answered out of the way. And people can feel really comfortable asking questions that they might not feel comfortable doing in the chair, and they can do it from the sort of convenience of their own home. So that's been a big unlock for us this year.
Don't underestimate the power of virtual acupressure. You'd be amazed at what you can do with your thumb and finger. I think for us and what we're super excited about is we spent a lot of time sort of marrying our two ecosystems, this e-commerce platform and product sales company, as well as this virtual services, as well as physical services. And where I think we've got it super excited is currently you can like go see a doctor virtually, and currently you can go buy supplements virtually or go see a health coach, but you can't do them at the same place at the same time. And like one easy portal that's sort of a continuity of care. A big thing with us is, and one of our things is, and Michelle mentioned this, people are time poor. So how are we making taking care of themselves efficient and effective and easy? And really creating that, if you come visit us in the Mayflower for 3 days, or get a massage at our club in New York, or buy a product of ours online, how do we make sure that like all the dots are crossed, all the I's are connected, there's a continuity of care? And then also through digital, how do we democratize the cost of it? Because the thing is like preventative health is still expensive for a lot of New Yorkers. And so we've been using content and free education and free summits and free office hours and we have an amazing online platform of just free protocols, programs, things you can do online on our site that are free to anyone. But we're also trying to figure out how do we democratize the one-on-one service and like find the scalability of digital services to reduce our costs, because our club in New York is a luxury product. It was designed to be that way, and it'll always be that product. But we want to figure out, and we are building products, spaces, online stuff that really allows us to serve all New Yorkers, all people, regardless of income, which is important to us.
Great. And then I guess, your companies are looking at your areas specifically now. How do you see that field changing in the future, and how would your products and services also adapt to a changing landscape and changing demands from the consumer, and also evolving interests too?
I think our approach is really being super thoughtful about when we offer new services or products. Wellness has a lot of noise in it, and there's a lot of stuff that's like fatty, FADD, like a fad. So I think we want to be very conscious of never jumping on fads and making sure there's always science, or with acupuncture, there's now tons of science behind it. And also 3,000 years of anecdotal history. But for us, it's really, we don't ever want to be the first to jump on something without proof that it works or that it's good for our consumers, because they trust us, right? And they know that if we tell them about something, if we recommend something, that they can trust it. So I think we're very thoughtful about, we're always adding new services. We're always offering new we always want to offer new modalities, but we want to do it in a cadence that's vetted and that's trusted. I think also sort of what I said earlier is like, I didn't know that a global pandemic was going to hit. I hope we don't have anything else that's this big for a while, but you have to be flexible and adaptable, right? And you have to, you know, respond and react to markets and consumers. And I think if nothing else, we've learned how to do that in the past 12 months and actually found it to be quite freeing. So you know, feel open to any and all new possibilities and changes that come.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, what it really comes down to is like real listening to our customers. And what we try to do is, you know, have as many touch points as possible to really understand, you know, what our clients are going through and how we can really meet them there. So, you know, I think, and similarly to what Kane said, you know, we're doing something that's been around for thousands of years, and we think that, you know, we will continue to have, you know, our core service model will be the same for us. You know, I think we're really focused on doing one thing and doing it really well, which is acupuncture. But where I see innovation coming from and is in products also. You know, one of the things that we did quickly during COVID was to release an acupressure mat. So it's a similar story of, you know, something that was on the product roadmap years, you know, down the road, but, you know, we turned things around and got it launched in a few months. And so, you know, I think we'll be able to continue to innovate through products. And, you know, I think also trying to involve customers in the process as well. So getting their feedback and input throughout the customer process or throughout the product development process has been something that has been, you know, we're looking for sure, but, you know, I think is important to just make sure that we're listening.
Great. Well, Kane had to drop off, and I appreciate, you know, both of your time, everyone's time, the presentations and this discussion as well. Andy, Michelle, thank you once again. Also to Kane, and to all who joined us. We'll be sending out an email shortly with all the promo codes. So thanks for joining, and thanks again for sharing with us your stories.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.